It took us this long, but we're finally here to the finale. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the final site for the 2024 season for the VTuber Racing Series. And it's gonna be chaotic to say the least. Similar to how the last 29 races have been, today's gonna be no different. We're gonna see a lot of action today. Not just because of the fact that we have a championship on the line, and as well as Season 2 berth on the line. We also have 267 laps around this track, which is a full-length race. Any sort of NASCAR enthusiast will tell you that these races go by a lot longer when you start increasing laps, but I think that's just how motorsports is in general, isn't it not? But today is going to be a long race. Probably, I wouldn't say the longest of the season, but it'll probably be second or third. It's going to be a long race today to determine the championship. Last week we saw something kind of crazy with the championship, to say the least. And today is going to be mostly a two-horse tango for the championship. I say mostly, I'll get into that here momentarily. But ever since Bell had their little mechanical problem early on in the race last week at Rockingham Speedway, they fell back, never was able to get a chance to make up any of those positions that they lost. Finished at abysmally 30, back in the 30s. I don't remember exactly, like 34th and 33rd, one of the two, but they did not finish well whatsoever. Because of that, they lost the points lead, and now they sit in second place, and they have to be on the attack today. They are separated by 7 points. Now, how in the world can all 4 drivers win today's championship? Because right now, 4 drivers are mathematically able to win the championship. Merriweather was eliminated technically last week after his not-so-good performance. I say technically because they still can tie for the championship if not only do they win the race, but they lead the most amount of laps, and the championship leader, who is Starlight, they have to finish back in dead last. Because that would be a 40. But even then, I don't think Merriweather could even tie for the championship then, because so many variables have to go into that I'm not going to get into, because he's not even going to be able to win the championship at all. So, with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about the 4 drivers that could win the championship. Starlight and Bell, the top 2 in the championship hunt, they both have a pretty solid way, and a pretty easy one to explain, as to how they could win the championship. For Starlight, it is to stay 7 positions ahead of Bell when the checkered flag waves. Or, if Bell does lead a lap, make that 6. If Starlight can lead a lap, but Bell cannot, then it could easily be 8 positions ahead. The bottom line is that Starlight has to finish ahead of Bell, and as well stay... well, even if they don't finish ahead, don't finish too far behind. That's the main thing. For Bell, they have to finish 7 spots ahead of Starlight, but 6 positions if they can lead a lap, and Starlight cannot. If both of them lead a lap, then it's back to 7. If Starlight leads a lap, Bell has to finish 8 spots ahead of Starlight if they do not lead a lap. It is a little confusing, but remember, each position is just worth 1 point. Leading a lap is a bonus point. So, Starlight and Bell, they want to lead a lap, while the other one doesn't. That's how those 2 can finish in the championship. It's pretty self-explanatory. With Overdrive, not only do they have to finish about 17 spots ahead of Bell, they also have to finish ahead of Starlight by 24 or 25 spots, depending on if Overdrive can lead a lap or not. So, for Overdrive, it's merely a case of what happened last week, but on the double whammy side of things, like we saw back in Infineon several weeks back, where Starlight and Bell have to finish in the back, essentially wrecking themselves out of the championship. So Overdrive has a slim chance of winning the championship unless something dramatic happens in today's race, which we can possibly see. He is still he's in a position to win the championship. But like I said, with Overdrive, not only does he have to finish 17 spots ahead of Bell at the least, they also have to finish 24 or 25, realistically 25 spots ahead of Starlight. For Iron Mouse, it is practically impossible, unless not only can Starlight and Bell finish at the very back of the field, but as well as Overdrive, because Iron Mouse sits 9 spots behind Overdrive. So, for Iron Mouse to win the championship, they need to finish 9 spots above Overdrive. They also need to finish roughly 30 spots above Bell. I can't remember how much exactly off the top of my head, but they also have to finish 34 above Starlight. So Starlight has to finish back in the 30s, practically dead last, for Iron Mouse to even sniff a chance to win the championship. But then they also have to finish many spots ahead of the other 2 drivers that are in front of her at the same time. So for Iron Mouse, the chances of her winning the championship are next to impossible, but not out of the equation. So, with Starlight and Bell, things are pretty self-explanatory for those 2. They're gonna be fighting all throughout today's race, because it'll probably be another one of those races where track position is going to be fought for aggressively throughout the course of this race, and we're going to see a lot of drivers from the back being up front, and the drivers from the front to the back, similar to how the other 29 races have been for the most part this season. That's how the Championship 4 rack up, but there is also one more set of battling positions in the championship that we are going to be searching for today. And that's for everybody that sits 6th on back in the championship points, which you'll now see scroll on screen. We'll scroll through, get out of the top 5 real quick in the championship, and we'll look down 6th on down for what we will have our 2025 season contenders, if you will. From David on down on the screen, these drivers are going to be battling also a few more that aren't shown on screen. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. I'll scroll down here momentarily. David, William, Noriboshi, Simu, Soleil, Bimble, Fifi, and Doki Bird. Goes all the way down to Kyoso and Risu as well, who are tied for that spot, that last spot. Those drivers that I just named off, if they are to get a good finish today and not lose any points, especially Kyoso and Risu, they will automatically be in contention in 2025 to run for the championship, because they won't have to go through a sign-up process, and I'll talk more about that later. But there's a lot of rides that'll be opened up next year, especially because we're expanding to 40 cars. So there's a lot of opportunities for new drivers to come in and win the championship. And like I said, that'll happen here later down the line this year with the 2025 season. There's also an opportunity for drivers from this season to win the championship for next season. And for a lot of these drivers on the screen right now, they're battling for that opportunity. Now, this does mean that if they do make it out of today's race. They don't have to worry about signing up. If some of these drivers fall outside the 100-point bracket behind the champion from out of today's race, then they will have to go through a sign-up process in order to race in 2025. Which, like I said, I will explain once we get to that point. But so far, right now, you could realistically put it down to the top 15 in the championship. They are going to be currently in for 2025. There's a couple other drivers that are hunting for a spot for the 2025 season. And it goes all the way down to Watson, who mathematically cannot make it into 2025. But Lumi, who's just one spot above her, can. But they're going to need a lot more than just a good finish today. They're going to need some help. So, that's how things shake up. We have a lot of opportunities for today and beyond. So, once again, today's the finale. After today, there is no more opportunities given to any of these drivers to win the championship, because this is the championship race. Starting lineup for today's race. F1 style, and for the last time, let's go through the starting lineup. I will go through everybody from 37th to first place. Starting at the 37th starting spot today and dead last is the 87 of Didi. 36 will be the 36 of Project Melody. 35th starting spot will go to the number 84 of Fruit. And in the number 6 car of Lucky, they'll start 34. Dreamer will start 33rd. The 26 of Bao will start in 32nd. The 4 of Watson will start 31st. And Weebu will start in 30th. Inside the top 30. Keisan will start in 29th. Hado Mizuki will start in the 28th spot. Risu will start in 27th. Kobo and Gura will be 25th and 26th respectively. Tairoki 24th. Bimble in 23rd. Lumi in 21st. Lumi in 22nd. Fifi 21st. Sorry about that. And Filian 20th. Starting to creep inside the top 20, got Nana starting at the 19th spot with the number 52 of Lumen, starting in the 18th spot. Doki Bird battling for a 2025 ride for next season. They'll start in the 17th spot, as well as Callie, who will start from the 16th spot today. Henya will start inside the top 15 in the 15th spot, and then Fu, who's looking for their third win of the season, starting in the 14th spot. Simu, who's looking for their second win of the season, will have to start from the 13th spot. DM will start from the 12th spot. Sprite, looking for their second, will start in the 11th. And starting inside the top 10, we have Soleil, who starts in the 10th spot. William, who starts in the 9th spot. And then our championship leader coming into today's race by 7 points of Starlight, they'll start in 8th place. Yoso, starting in the 7th spot. Noriboshi starting in the 6th spot. 4th place in the championship standings coming into today's race. Merriweather will start in 5th. Overdrive, another championship contender, will start in 4th. 2nd place in points, looking to win the championship by beating Starlight by more than 7 spots. Will start in 3rd place for today's race. And then on the front row for today's race, 2 drivers that have been synonymous with starting up front, but can they finish up front? We'll see about that. It'll be David in the 77, alongside Iron Mouse, who sits currently 4th place in the standings, but with a very, very rare shot to win the championship. Like I said, today is the last chance for these drivers to run for the championship. And honestly, no matter what happens at the end of the day, this has been a fun series that I'm looking forward to doing again next season. With hopefully just a little bit more professionalism. Screw it. Who cares about that? It's been a long ride. 30 races. About to be in the books here today. Once we get 267 laps out of the way. But before we can even get close to that, we first have to get to that point. So let's send it down the trackside and let's get today's race, the finale, underway. Like I said, 267 laps. It's not going to be a sprint to the finish. It's going to be a long one. So let's get things settled here. Let's get the championship settled. 7 positions. Seven positions make up the difference between championship glory and runner-up for the top 2 in the championship. Excuse me. Bell is going to start on the inside of row number 2. If they can finish 7 spots ahead of Starlight by the end of today's race, they are the champion. If Starlight can finish around Bell, not necessarily in front of, but not so far behind, they will hang on for the championship. 267 laps to the end of the 2024 VTuber Racing Series. We are underway, green flag in the air. Do also keep in mind that Overdrive can also win the championship in the 12, but they are a long shot. Iron Mouse slides way up the racetrack on the exit of 2. Here comes Merriweather being chased by Kyoso on that inside line as well. At 3 wide for a couple spots. 3 wide back, a couple rows deep. Merriweather's going to lead the first lap of today's race. Still 3 wide. Comes Kyoso down to the inside. Like I said, we are going to see very similar racing to Super Speedway racing, especially early on in these restarts. I think Merriweather may have scraped the wall there. Don't know if those were sparks or if that was just something else. Also still on that inside, side by side. Top 4 all bunched together. Kyoso leads the lap. And Bell is falling back way on that high groove. Way too early to dictate anything as of this moment. Williams going to stay side by side with Merriweather going into turn number 3. That's Sprite up in the picture in the 90. They're looking for their 2nd win of the season. Actually, I think maybe their 3rd. I remember them winning back all the way at the beginning of the season. I don't remember if they've... I don't remember. I think they're only 1 win. So far, the top 4 have all won a race. At least one this season. I guess you could maybe count everybody inside the top 5 if you count Fu and Merriweather. Then you got 3 wide with the championship hopefuls. And have Starlight on that very high side. But as things still stand side by side going into 1, nobody's able to get a opportunity to make a run and just pull away and lead for a consistent amount of time. So go 3 wide for 2nd. That might be something that'll change for next season because we are going to be running a different. We are going to be different. We are going to be running a different car next season. If I get that thought on my head, that'd be nice. So what you see right now is not what you're going to see next season. You're going to see different cars and different looks of the cars, and possibly different handling models as well. So you may see a lot more spread out racing as opposed to today. They won't be, I won't spoil it exactly, but I will just basically give off a hint. It's not anything new. Basically similar to how these cars are not necessarily new. I think they've kind of started to single file out inside the top 10 slightly. William, Fu, and Lumen the top 3. Noriboshi 4th and Henya 5th. 6th is Fifi, and then it's a Hornet's Nest back here for 7th on back. It is just absolutely chaotic. Oh, speaking of chaotic, oh, Kobo and Risu getting into it. What a save by Kobo. One last look at this. They were 4 wide coming off the 1 right here. Whoa. Gee. That will spread out the field a little bit, so at least there was no harm, no foul there, but that was close. Good save by Kobo. And as well as Risu. Side by side for 3rd. Noriboshi trying to take that spot away. Actually, these cars are from, like, 1998. Exactly. At least, like, the models. Not the cars themselves, but the models. Very calm. Inside the top 2, at least. William and Fu just kind of running single file for the most part, albeit Fu's running a little bit faster, which does show that the leader doesn't really have much of an advantage whatsoever if they want to run fast laps. Noriboshi hangs on to 3rd. Lumen to 4th. Enya 5th. Just a little bit single file. Good inside the top 3. Or, sorry, the top 10. Here comes a battle for 2nd place. There's Noriboshi trying to take that spot away. Going to be able to do just that, and as well, there might be a battle. 3rd place. Lumen's trying to take away that 3rd spot. Still going to keep it to the inside. Going into turn 3. You keep in mind that this is also flat Las Vegas, by the way, because I feel like this version of Vegas is better than what is now Las Vegas, but you know, that's just me. I like this one more. Right now, William holds the lead out front for right now. They aren't battling for anything necessarily for the championship, but they still would like an opportunity to run for one next season, which is obviously what a lot of these drivers are going to be running for if they aren't inside the top 15 in points. But the drivers that are top 15 in points, some of them are just looking to at least finish halfway decent today and just finish off the season with a high note. Especially those that are still trying to make it to where they can enter for a chance to win next season, automatically at least. I feel like many drivers outside the top 10, especially those that are closer to the top 5 in points, they're already kind of locked in. I mean, the top 4 is already... Actually, no, sorry. The top 5, including Merriweather, in the championship, they're locked in already, no matter what. Because they are going to be the ones... They're the ones that are dictating basically the rest of the field's dreams of racing for the championship. And do keep in mind, I will keep everybody posted as to when signups will occur. I don't want to put them out too early because I don't plan on starting next season till close to the start of next year. Maybe around like early to mid-December rather. So it'll be a while. It'll be a few months before we start this back up because of it being the 2025 season. Kind of want most of the I kind of want most of the races to be happening in 2025, obviously. Meanwhile, Noriboshi is trying to take the race lead away from William and does just that, albeit William's trying to put up a fight on that high line. It doesn't take long before William goes back to the inside. A little crossover move going in turn 3. And we saw what happened last week with Rockingham, how pit strategy allowed only 2 cars to really battle for the end here. It's really going to depend on what happens today, but with how bunched up everybody is, unless pit stops are very different between everybody. What I mean by that is some drivers have a really fast stop and some drivers don't. I really doubt we're going to see a lot of drivers spread out. Get a championship update here on lap 18. Starlight is sitting just inside the top 20 in 19th place. But that's still good enough for them to finish ahead of Bell for the championship. So the thing is, you don't have to finish well overall today. You don't have to finish inside the top 10 today. You just have to finish. For Starlight and Bell, they just have to finish around each other. For Bell, about 6 or 7 spots ahead of Starlight. And for really Overdrive and Iron Mouse, they really should not be around them at all. Because if these two are around the other two, they ain't going to win the championship. And it's just going to be really the top 2 just kind of holding back and just trying not to get involved in anything. Top 2 have pulled away from 3rd place. 3rd place is starting to pile up here, or at least pack up with a bunch of cars. Whereas top 2 have kind of tried to separate themselves from it. Try to log the laps in calmly for the race lead. So right now, this is the first battle at the moment, unless William could catch Noriboshi here shortly soon. Between Fu and Simu, again, 2 drivers that have won already this season, looking to end this season off strong. Looks like Simu's going to take away that 3rd spot. Meanwhile, the gap between 1st and 2nd is just relatively close to about half a second. It's a bit of a gap. Probably the biggest gap we've seen naturally all year. Maybe Milwaukee had a bigger natural gap built between the top 2, but maybe. Yeah. A lot of these drivers that we're seeing climbing up through the field, some of them have started in the very back of the field. Talk about Kobo, Nana. Weeb's also climbing up here inside the top 20. They started back in 30th, and after 22 laps, they gained about 15 spots from where they started. Give or take a couple positions. Risu way slow on that high line there. No damage. Probably just got out of the groove a little bit and had to get out of the gas to try to catch it. About 7/10 of a second gap between the top 2. Also trying to take away that 3rd spot away from Simu. Inside of turn number 4 here, and does so. 3 in this little gap, this little picture right here. This is crazy seeing these 3, because 3 drivers that I expected to also battle for the championship, but unfortunately a lot of missed timings, miscalculations, and just poorly managed luck for a lot of these drivers. You see Merriweather's creeping inside the top 10. Unfortunate that they are eliminated. They were eliminated by just a handful of points, and a small handful of points. So they're not battling for the championship, but they could still manage to get a solid finish of the championship standings. No doubt about that. It's just all going to have to depend on the situations around them. The championship format for next season will not change whatsoever. I do like this format. I think it is kind of fair, in my honest opinion. I like this format. Everything, it's simple. It's simple. A position is worth a point. Leading a lap is a point. Leading the most is a point. And winning the race gets you 3 more. So you know what? You can be a really dominant driver. You can really pull away with this championship. Or not. You know, it's whatever. It's whatever you feel like. William has caught Noriboshi, and now the top two are going to battle close to each other once again. Don't know if this is going to really bring back third, fourth, and fifth, as they all are starting to run back single file until they get back to the 15th spot. 14th, I should say, and it gets a little chaotic from there. So I'm not entirely too sure if these three guys are going to catch the top two, but at the moment, it still sits about a second and a half between this pack of two to the pack of three behind. William tried to take away that spot. Had to let out of the gas a little bit, and that allowed Noriboshi to pull the gap up just a little bit more. And you can see these drivers starting to really utilize the width of this track. For this track being as wide as it is, once you get side by side, it narrows out real quick, especially on exit. Kobo's back inside the top 10 here, looking to get back into 5th place. Got caution on the speedway. Oh, Soleil is around. Got a lot of drivers around here. Kason, Dogibur with a lot of rear end damage. Let's go back and take a look here. Bimmel with a ton of damage as well. Let's go back and look what happened here. Maybe it looked like this happened back in turn 4. Ooh. Wow, this happened right in the thick of everything championship-wise. Got a helicopter look here. So we're 4? No, we are 5. Almost 5 wide here. Soleil trying to get underneath Bimble, who's already 4 wide. And it looks like everybody just kind of squeezes each other. I can't really pinpoint who, but oh, Bell's gonna... Oh, everybody in the championship's gonna get hit here. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Bell... Oh my god. Bell's gonna hit the wall hard and then hit a ton of other cars. Soleil gets turned around but keeps it... Oh, Starlight with side damage. So the top 2 in the championship just both got involved in this one. Maybe not as much damage, but still damage. Oh my god, Bimble, the hard one into the wall there. David as well. Mizuki gets spun. Only does a 360 though. Didn't see them hit the wall. Wow. That was a ton of cars early in this race. Let's see. So they just all stack up, and it's just so many cars right here. Bam! Just hard on the outside wall goes Bimble. Soleil does spin out. Trying to see if they get hit by anybody. I don't think so. Oh, Soleil doesn't get hit by anybody, just gets spun. Just get a little spin, just a little spin right there. Just, oh my god. There goes Bimble back into the 24. The ones that got the worst out of it, in terms of what I can tell, Doki Bird with a lot of rear end damage, and Kason with a lot of left side damage. David has a little bit of right side damage, but I don't think it's major. Mizuki did a little spin, but nothing too spectacular. Bimble, obviously, the hardest in terms of the damage. He was the one that went head on into the outside wall. So already 29 laps into this race, and the top 2 in the championship, both nearly getting taken out in the wreck. I mean, everybody that was battling for the championship was in that mix. Let's first see if anybody goes into the pits this early. It'll look like, some drivers. I think Kilso. Yeah, some drivers are coming in. 3 drivers stay out. Everybody else comes in. Noriboshi, William, and Fu, the 3 that stay out, whereas everybody else comes in. Actually, looks like DM? I think that might be DM that stayed out. They didn't get any damage. But everybody else coming in, with the exception of those 4, that is DM that stayed out. So it'd be Kobo and Kyoso is going to leave the first 2 out. So that's a very interesting call by the top 4. Oh, it does look like DM is going to go into the pits this time. Be an interesting call for the top 3 to see what happens. We'll see if 30 laps makes a big difference on the tires or not. That'll be the question for this run here. So anyways, when we get restarted here, it's going to be Noriboshi ahead of William and Fu. And then, as we see, DM going to the pits. That'll give up that spot to Kobo, who'll now be in 4th place. And then it's Kyoso, rounding out the top 5. And then it's Merryweather in 6, right next to Lumi, 7th. 8th place will be Dreamer. 9th place will be Nana. And rounding out the top 10 will be Simu. And then outside the top 10 will be Risu, Fifi, Watson, and Lucky. Lumen as well will be in 15th. 16th will be Overdrive. 17th will be Fruit. 18th will be Philia. 19th will be Gura. And 20th will be DD in the 87. And the rest of the field on back. Starlight, who will restart the 24th, 25th position. Way ahead of Bell, who probably had to be in for longer because of repairs. So right now, Bell's got a bigger deficit to attack. Because we are going to go green here, and it does look like we are going to be single file for this restart. Since it is the championship race. To go back to how things were beforehand. Or at least for this restart. The pace car is in. Keep an eye on the top 3. Let's see if they hold. If they hold well with their 32 lap old tires. William had a really good jump. Good to look to the inside going into turn 1. Kobo's going to be the first on the newer set of tires. So is 30 laps on tires. Too much. Kobo's looking for that 3rd spot, and immediately he's going to jump down low to the 2nd spot. I am going to say, I don't think that was a smart move by the top 3. It allowed William to kind of pull out ahead, but we'll see what happens here. Merryweather's going to try and look down low for the 2nd spot. He's going to be able to do that. Fu and Noriboshi have both fallen outside the top 5. Maybe top 10. Fu drifts way up the track. Noriboshi had to get out of it because they were going to be 4 wide, which we just saw does not work at this track. If they go 4 wide, they're going to pile up. They're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. Lumi not taking family into consideration here whatsoever, just to say the least. And Lumi's going to try and take away the race lead. Oh, Jesus. We're tight down the backstretch. I think William just got put in the wall by Merryweather. Either way, he's still stuck up top 3 wide. So yeah, those top three that decided to go into the pit, or that decided to stay out, they did not make the best decision whatsoever. They have fallen. Three of them have basically fallen outside the top 10. Here comes Dreamer for the race lead. Three wide, not too far behind these folks. Nana in the 85, another driver that started deep in the field. Still side by side down the back stretch. Risu maybe looking three. Maybe looking three wide going into turn 3, and does make the move. She's going to lead the lap. She is. So Risu's going to lead that lap. And they're stacking up 3 by 3. Almost 3 by 3. Behind the top 3. So Risu, Nana, and Simu so far. And it's side by side. Maybe 3 abreast once you get back there. 38 laps into the books here. Top 2 are going to try and start pulling away from the rest of the field, because that's what they got to do. And here comes Simu trying to make the pass underneath Risu for the lead. Nana's by herself in the 3rd spot, but they're still stacking up 3 wide. Lots of 3 wide racing back there. Still 3 wide for a lot of positions. My goodness. Let's file back a little bit if we can. Starlight 27th. File back to the cars that got involved in the wreck. File back to 34th place. We'll find 2nd place of the standings of Bell. It's not looking like this is going to be their year this year unless something drastic happens. I mean, what we saw earlier and what we're seeing right now with everybody being as tight together as we are seeing right now, I don't think we're going to see a clean race, despite this being a track where you can get really spread out. I mean, Risu has already pulled out about a second ahead of Simu. Simu tried to make a move a couple laps ago. I'm assuming the car kind of fell off for a little bit. It allowed Risu to gain about a second. I mean, yeah, just look at this pack right here. They're just stacking up 3 wide, and we saw what happened when they tried to stack 4. It just didn't work, so I mean, right now we're just going to have to keep an eye on everything, really. I mean, it's everywhere. The front of the pack's where you want to be at, actually, because the farther back you go, the more chaotic it's going to get, and it's not going to get much cleaner when you get back here. You got drivers that are desperate to try and race for 2025. And you also got to keep in mind, too, that a lot of these drivers you will not see next season, especially those that we haven't really talked about at all this season. I mean, Risu's a driver we've been talking about a lot, and so is Simu. But one driver that is trying to stay within a chance for 2025 is Nana. They did win Talladega, but like that's their one and only race that they were probably talked about at all. Sitting deep in the standings. We'll go through the full standings at the end of today's race. Or at least as much as I can show before the thing decides I can't show anymore. They're still stacking up 3 wide all the way till you get to Fu, who stayed out under that last caution. Starlight trying to get up more spots here. Currently running in the 24th spot. 3 wide on the bottom of everything, though. So that's about 10 spots at least over the 69 of Bell. So right now that gap would be 17 points. And at the moment, right now, Risu has a solid 2.5 second lead over Simu. And then it's just a Hornet's Nest for 3rd on back. Right now, Risu has a really good short run car for what it's worth, which is pretty different to see, but, you know, nice to see at the same time, too. We're just going to keep an eye on any of these battles that we see that stack up 3 abreast just to... So that'll be where the more chaoticness of this race shines. Just look at me, look at this. They're 3 by 3 by 3. They're almost 3 rows of 3 for a second. And all of this is for 4th place. Kobo's ahead of all this by a couple tenths. But not want to look in that rearview mirror inside that 70 car because it looks really intimidating. I mean, we've already had 1 caution today, less than 30 laps into the race, so I am definitely expecting more than that late in the going. The drivers that were involved in that wreck, they are filed back. Most of them are. Like David, Kason, DM, Soleil, Bell, Doki Bird, and Bimble. They're not necessarily back there because of the damage. I don't think most of them are, at least. I think most of them are just back there because they see what's going on right now and they just know that they don't want to be anywhere around this mess. When you're back in the 30s, you can at least have the opportunity to slow up and avoid any of the chaosness. I mean, we aren't even a third of the way through, this race. So if this is how chaotic it's going to be for the first half of this race, I can only imagine the chaoticness that's going to come once we finally get to a point to where these drivers aren't going to be worried about pit stops or pit strategy. I mean, we've been on this green flag run for about 20 laps, almost 20 laps, and they still are just as 3 by 3 side by side for what would be the 3rd spot. They're just as right now packed together as they have been ever since the restart. The only thing that has been calm is 1st and 2nd. Risu's pulled out. It's now down to less than a second and a half, so Risu's car kind of it's either let out a little bit or Simu is just getting that much faster. He did set his fast lap. So I think Simu's was just kind of hanging back for a minute. And now Starlight's kind of chopped their way through the field up to the 6th spot after restarting in the back for getting the damage repaired. They're going to be almost 4 wide with Mouse and a bunch of others. Going to keep it 3 wide for the time being. I mean, again, it's just like, this is really chaotic, to say the least. Starlight is inside the top 10. So that's helping them out in the championship hunt, as Bell is now starting to turn on the jets a little bit and is going to try to start climbing up through the positions, because now they realize if this run continues this way and they don't have the track position, they're going to be screwed in the long run. They stack back up, though. You might see Starlight fall back several positions. Who knows? That's just how this series goes, I guess. There's Weebu, who started back in 30th place. They're up to 10th. And now they're going to be shuffled to the middle as Mouse looks to the inside. 3 wide. Starlight on the top side. And Mouse is going to be able to creep back inside the top 10. Bell and a few others from that pack that we were talking about earlier, they have started to climb their way through the front of the field. Speaking of that, here comes Simu, looking to battle against Risu for the 1st spot. These two have been pulling some fast laps here. They've got about 4 seconds to 3rd place, which is actually kind of nice for once. You need a calm place to watch. You need a calm thing to look at. Here you go. Battle for the lead. Simu once again looking side by side to the inside. Arisu's holding strong on that middle line. I don't think it'll be enough, though. Won't be enough because Simba's going to clear off 2. There's also another 2-pack cars right here between Henya and Kobo, 3rd and 4th at the moment. And things are slowly but surely settling out here. I just talked about how Starlight was going to fall back if things got a little chaotic. They did. And now Bell has not only taken several spots, but now enough spots. More than likely. Let me take a look here. Mizuki's the only car one lap out. So 18th place for the 69. 25th. Yeah, so that's about 7 spots. So right now, Bell would be the points leader. And that's what we're keeping an eye on for the rest of this race, because it's the last chance that you'll see the points championship battle. Maybe one final championship lead change. Maybe, maybe not. Bell's on that high side, 3 wide, which will definitely send them spiraling back a couple positions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, exactly right now, 7 spots. 7 cars separate them and the 24, but if they get a... What all they have to do, all Melody has to do is just pass them. And so does Philly, and it's like, there you go. Now it's the 24 back as the championship leader. Neither of these two have led a lap, I don't think. And right now they're sandwiching Nana in the 85. I mean, these two are running back in the deep part of the 20s, so they're looking to settle things on their own. They're not gonna try and win the race and the championship. They're just gonna win the championship and just let somebody else have the spotlight. I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now. I mean, we are less than halfway through this race still, so maybe we'll see them back up front near the end of the race, but we'll see. I mean, they fall into the tail end of this pack, which still just continues to run just 3x3. Not really 3x3, but side by side. It was 3x3 at one point, but now it's kind of starting to space out a little bit. But there's still some 3 wide that I don't think some of these championship drivers want to see. Starlight's going to go back 3 wide, try to get a couple spots. Try to put some distance between them and the 69 of Bell. Meanwhile, the top 2 still have about a 3-second gap to 3rd and 4th place. So right now, things are looking calm inside the top 5. Before the championship, things are anything but. Right now, 21st running spot for the 24 car, and only a couple spots behind that would be where the 69 is. Whew, I thought the 24 drifted to the wall there for a second. Got close. Got close. Starlight's just going to be running that middle line for the moment, trying to see what works and what doesn't. Good time to figure out what your car can do, especially once we're very long into this run here. We ran just as many laps now in this run as we did when we had that first caution. And you wouldn't think that the 24 or the 69 got involved in that first wreck by the way that these cars look. Pretty much spotless. And very little mechanical problems, if any. There's 64 laps in the books when we cross the line again. Currently 20th is where the 24 runs. Just a couple spots behind them will be where Bell is at. But Bell wants to be in front of the 24, not behind. Like I said, Starlight's the one that has a 7-point gap to second place of Bell. All it's doing right now is increasing the way that things are being ran right at this very moment. For a short while, Bell was the championship leader. And now things are swaying back into the favor of Starlight for the time being. That gap to third place even increased to 4.5 seconds. So whatever Risu and Simu are doing, they are pulling away from everybody behind them, which is kind of crazy to see, but I'm also kind of happy to see it because as chaotic as this is, kind of gotten less chaotic now, but there's still a lot of things going on. 2-car pack for first and second, then third and fourth by themselves, fifth and sixth practically by themselves. So it's a 3-pack. It is 3 different packs of 2 that make up the top 6. And then it's nose to tail side by side racing for 7th on back. Not as chaotic now as it was about 15 laps ago, but neither of the top 2 in the championship are eager to cut through the field. Starlight was able to do that just fine, but I don't know if that was because they were that bunched up or if their car is just that good. Who knows? Bell was able to also do the same as well. But I think what also is hindering Bell is some damage, because they did bash the wall a little bit on that outside under that first caution. So that may be hindering them, but like, I don't know. I doubt it. Because at the same time too, when Bimble came down the track into Starlight, that was also relatively close to the same as Bell getting pushed into the outside wall. So kind of so-and-so similar damage report by both the 24 and the 69, to be honest. So I don't know if damage is necessarily the reason why they're running this far back. I doubt it, because they're fast. They were up to 6. Both of them were up inside the top 10 after the restart. So it just comes down to them just wanting to be in the back away from all the chaos, because they were already involved in one wreck, and they know that they really today can't afford to be back in the 30s for their finishing results. And Starlight is starting to climb up through the field. I mean, they have been sitting in the 20th spot for the last couple laps, but it seems like now they're starting to make progress here to climb inside of it and get into the 19th spot. And now the 18th spot after that last time by. But none of these drivers around the 24 or the 69 are going to give a you-know-what about them running for the championship. They're going to race them just like they're going to race everybody else. There is still some 3-wide action to look at here, just outside the top 10. So, as calm as it has gotten for the most part, there's still a pack in the mid-pack of all of this. Top 2 still running calmly single file. About 2 to 3, maybe 4/10 of a second back. I don't think these two have traded the lead that much, if at all. DM is back in the pits. They were one of the 4 drivers that stayed out, but at the same time, they also came into the pits the next lap by, so I'm not entirely too sure if that's scheduled or not. I assume so. I mean, we also have Fu and a couple others that actually I think they also, and by the looks of things, I would say they pitted. Yeah, since they are, there's a couple drivers that are a lap down. Okay, in fact, the 5 drivers that I've only mentioned being a lap down, so those 3 have pitted after trying out a strategy that unfortunately did not work for them. Starlight trying to go 3 wide, trying to take away a lot of positions here, just try to climb through the front of the field again. That's putting Bell back in deep territory here, because now they have to go through all of what Starlight has already gone through. as they are still stacking up 3x3. I'm really only talking about the top 2 in the championship because, like I said, Overdrive has a lot more to do than the top 2 does. So he really doesn't have a shot to win this championship. He does have a shot to get a 2nd place if one championship contender has a bad race, but they need both to win the championship. And now, once again, Starlight has climbed to just outside the top 10. As Bell just inside the top 20. But we still have a long ways to go. We see here a battle for 3rd between Henya, Iron Mouse, and Callie, as well as Kobo and Fillion in the mix as well. This battle is still roughly 5 seconds, if not more, behind the top 2. So they still have a long ways to go if they want to reach the top 2. I don't know what got into their cars, the 2 inside the top 2, but, you know, they're doing what they got to do. They pulled to a gap. They're running calmly inside they're running calmly 1-2. They ain't trying anything crazy. They're trying to just log the laps and get them done. And try to make sure that, you know, they can... Especially if this runs green, they can at least have a solid position to and from the pits. Especially if they're multiple seconds ahead of the rest of this pack. They'll be able to afford a slow stop and still come out 2nd place, just or maybe a second or 2 behind the leader, but, you know, it's whatever. Nobody else has pitted. Nobody has pitted yet, other than DM and the 3 that stayed out under that caution, which was Fu, William, and Noriboshi. Hano Mizuki is a lap down because of the damage that he sustained. Well, I guess it was damage that was sustained. Whatever it was, they were, I guess, in the pits for a lot longer than they should have or would have been. Put them down a lap, but they are the first car 1 lap down, so if they could just get a caution, they will be back on the lead lap before you know it. Third place, Iron Mouse. 4th place, Fillion. Now, these 2 have had a little bit of history together, as I think the top 2, yes, the top 2, or at least Simu, has pitted. I just saw them flash across the screen. So the leader has come into the pits, whereas Risu stays out. So right now, you can suggest that these cars can run about 50 to 55 laps. Let's say 50 to 60. We'll see if that brings down a bunch more. Risu does stay out. Unless I'd have to do something with Simu and not a scheduled pit stop, then who knows? Maybe it's a short pitting strategy. I don't know. Donkey Bird's also in the pits as well. There's Simu who comes out of the pits, so maybe it's just a few cars per lap. Doesn't look like anybody this time by. Nope, nobody came in this time by to the pits. So if it's a couple cars per lap, it's very few far in between. Take a look and see who comes in this time. Race leader of Risu comes in. Yeah, it looks like they're the only one that came in. That puts the lead over to the 22 of Iron Mouse. Got 3 wide action up here. This is going to make things really interesting for when these drivers have to pit. I am going to also give a quick shout out to Didi in the 87 for hanging on to a 4th place spot, despite starting dead last. Have to see if that continues throughout the rest of this race or not, but yeah, shout out to them. 3 wide with the 2 championship contenders, all under that same blanket. Currently, right now, they both sit just outside the top 15, or at least are battling within that top 15 range. The 2 drivers for the championship are battling around that mid-pack area, which has been the hornet's nest of this entire race so far. Bell's trying desperately to get around the 24, but there's also a 64 car underneath that is trying to also increase their position. There's a couple drivers that are in right now. There are pixels at the moment, but there are a few. I think Iron Mouse is one of them. Nobody from the front pitting, but a lot more coming in this time by. Which includes Bell. I thought Iron Mouse pitted. I guess not. Okay, that's fine. A lot of cars have similar paint schemes. Like a lot more coming in this time anyways. Lap 89, which is around, we restarted around lap 32. Lap 33, 34, I think. So yeah, roughly about, I'd say roughly like 60-ish laps is the closest you'll get. Like the farthest you'll get. Not closest, but farthest. Couple more come in this time. Clean for the most part. South Philly in. There goes them. Would like to see where Simu and Risu come out at, because obviously those two were blistering the field. Like Simu, yeah, there's Simu. They came out ahead of Risu. In fact, is actually going to pass the 86. I think everybody ahead of them hasn't pitted. Yes. Well, at least for the most part. Better to check now. Yes, it looks like it, because there's Bimble. Still some things left to be determined, but things have definitely, well, okay, so I was going to say maybe maybe William and the rest were going to stay out and be ahead of them, but no. There's William, there's Noriboshi, and then there's Fu, who are all currently ahead of Fillion and them for position, sure, but it ain't much, to be honest. It ain't much help. So right now it will be Simu who will retake the race lead. But it's actually Hana Mizuki who's still, like, out. And he is for position. He's not a lap down. He did stay out, and he is trying to kind of pull the same strategy as these three. The 94, the 10, and the 17. Unfortunately, they're falling back, and I think so will the 86. Let's see. Starlight came out at 30th, so a terrible stop for them. And Bell as well. Only a couple spots, whoops, couple spots behind them. Yeah, there's Belle and there's Starlight. They're naturally running terrible, and so is Overdrive. So the top three naturally running terribly. Where is Iron Mouse? Because they're fourth in points, and they have a long shot of winning, but they're gonna need a lot more to go. They need a lot more than 19th place right now. Whoever's winning this championship, they're not gonna win it in championship style. Unless something changes here. Risu did already get by Mizuki, so yeah. Mizuki is just gonna fall back several spots. So as things stand for the moment, by the way, before I mention that, Arisu is chasing down this 99 car. She does have a really fast car in the short runs here. I think we might see a pass for the lead here within the next couple laps. Anyway, as I was about to say, we are about to reach that lap 100 mark of the race. Things are going to be looking quite... Let's see. I'm trying to calculate stuff here as Risu goes by for the lead. They pitted about 60. Yeah, they would be around like 55 to 60 laps. Keep in mind, Risu did also pit a couple laps later than Simu. So, there's that. Still are not halfway home yet. It'll be 1:33 if we get to the halfway mark. So at the moment, Risu has taken away the race lead after pit stops. Second place will be Simu. Third place at the moment is Hano Mizuki. Fourth place, Fillion. Fifth place goes to Lucky. Battle for sixth between Dreamer and Melody, as well as Henya, Callie, Merriweather, and Didi. That goes all the way back to the 11th spot. 12th on back, got Fu, Tairoki, Bao, William, Soleil, Fruit, Keisan, Noriboshi, Watson, Gura, and Iron Mouse. That goes all the way back to 22nd. 23rd is Lumen. 24th is Sprite. 25th is DM. Now 25th is Fifi, who was 26th. 27th is Weebu. 28th is Lumi. 29th is Nana. 30th is the championship leader of Starlight. Wouldn't think that, but she is. Kobo 31st. 32nd is Kyoso. 33rd is David. 34th is Overdrive. 35th is Bell. Goalkeeper 36th, and 37th is Bimble. Everybody's still on the lead lap. Still have several more pit stops left in this race. I think 2, maybe 3 more exactly. So still a lot of things could change and happen. I think it was just a terrible stop by both all championship contenders for that matter. So really just keep an eye on the pit stops once we get more of them going. That gap to third isn't as big as it was before pit stops. It's only about 3.5 seconds. So what we're looking at the moment is we are probably going to see some more. I'd say some, but it'd probably be more drivers that are going to be trying their hand for the race lead at some point or another. Simu's looking to maybe take it away again, but to no avail there. Risu does have a little bit of a faster race car on the short run here, a 30.255 to a 30.259, so just a couple thousandths of a second. Billion and Lucky starting to work together a little bit, maybe not, but it looked like it for a second. Down to less than 2.9 seconds. As things start to slightly get back single file for the most part. Starlight's fallen on the way to 33rd. Mizuki has finally entered the pits. They gave up that run, and now they'll be the only car at the moment 1 lap down. And then you got DM and William and Fu and Noriboshi, who will be the next ones to fall once they enter the pits. Here within probably 15, no more than 15 laps. If their strategy is the way that it still is. 104 in the books, still a long ways to go here, so we'll keep an eye on that gap to 3rd, though, because it is dwindling down. About 2.5 seconds now compared to what it was a couple laps ago. Although still being battled by a couple drivers, and I mean a lot of drivers, not a couple. Really Unlucky, Dreamer, and it looks like Merriweather, first 4 in this pack. None of these drivers not having a whole lot of success, with the exception of Merriweather, who currently sits 5th in the points, but unfortunately, no matter what happens today, he will not be able to win the championship. He can get really close, but not to the point where it's on top. Simu just running right on the back bumper of Risu, not even really trying to make anything happen at the moment. Across the line to complete 106. Only one caution today at lap 29. And now that we've had a green flag pit stop in the books, let's kind of spread the field out just a little bit, which has lowered the 3 wideness of the race. Kind of just brought everything back to mostly double file. I mean, if it is 3 wide, it's only for like maybe 1 to 2 rows because of only having about 10 cars at most in a pack. Right now, this is a pack of 2 cars for the top 2. Then about 2 seconds back. Got about a pack of 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, and then back here a bigger pack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 cars for that pack, which you do see 3 wide there. Then it's a smaller pack here with a couple drivers that are just either damaged from the first wreck or had a terrible stop. Or terrible pit strategy, one of those 3. Or a combo. At the moment, lap times, despite the newness of the tires, they're still about a second off from their fastest lap, and we've barely ran half a run. So either the track has changed dramatically, or the drivers have changed their approach dramatically, because Racer will set at 29.4, but they're about to be more than a second off that pace. And what I can only assume could be just them not running necessarily super quick because of the handling might have changed. Maybe. That does happen. It can, especially with these longer endurance style races where things are going to be a lot more endurance-y, so things are going to change. As the laps wind down, but the laps also count up for the amount of for how long you be out here. Car does change. It's tight, it's loose. You don't know why it's doing it, but it does it. Right now, these two have been pretty much inseparable ever since the restart on lap 35. Like, the only constant thing that's changing is the battle for third and back. But that is going to probably change here. Fillion and everybody else has brought that gap down to about a second and a half, if not less than that. And things are really looking bleak for the top two, which at one point had a 5-second gap. Whether or not it was because of them deciding to pit earlier than everybody else, Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it's them just not really wanting to push that hard and wait for a long run to come. Maybe that's when they could push and start pulling out. Who knows? All I know is that there's still a pack that is really dangerous to look at right now, and that's this pack back here for 15th on back. Still tightly run 3 wide despite being, what, more than almost 10 seconds back? Actually, no, 10 seconds back would be the 26th car, or the 26th place spot. Still about 6 seconds back, so still quite a bit of a gap. Third and fourth place, they're running about 2, maybe 3 tenths quicker than the top 2, so they're chasing them down slowly but surely. And this top 10 is full of a lot of drivers that really want to end this season on a strong note, regardless of how they make it happen. They have not been consistent whatsoever for the most part of this season. Now, Risu and Simu, who I've talked a lot about in the last couple of races. Risu's the only driver that I talk about a lot, but hasn't really won a race. Simu won back at Indianapolis a couple weeks back. They got Fillion, who came close several times, but couldn't seal the deal several times. Got Lucky, who's also been close, but has also won back at Darlington, way back when. Melody was doing good for a while in the last couple of races, but unfortunately would just get involved in something that would just take him out. Then you got Henya, who won last week. Currently running in the 6th spot. And you got Dreamer, Didi, Callie, and 5th place in points. Merriweather, that's the top 10. It's like several of those drivers inside the top 10 looking to end the season with hopefully one last hurrah. Especially because a lot of these drivers know that they aren't going to be racing for in the 2025 season. You may not see Callie next year. You may not see Melody next year. You may not see Henya, Lucky, or Fillion. You may not see them. You may not. They're going to race like it is their last race, though. They're going to go out on top if it kills them. Right now, they've caught the top 2. That gap's now down to basically nothing. And what once was a 2-car calm battle for the race lead has now transformed into everybody inside the top 10 is now battling for that spot. Championship-wise, Starlight is running in 30th place, and Bell just running only a spot behind, considering actually maybe about a spot or 2 behind, depending on this battle here between Overdrive and Starlight. Cars surrounding Bell are mostly 1 lap down. Speaking of that, here comes the leaders to try and pass the 9 of Bimble, who is a lap down, if they pass him. Bimble, who we saw get head-on into that outside wall, suffered the most catastrophic damage out of that first wreck. They are, unfortunately, going to fall a lap. Simu has as well lost a couple spots, and they're going to be losing a lot more than just second. They got trapped behind that slow car of Bimble. And now they fall outside the top 5. They're going to fall back to almost the back of this pack. Still going to be inside the top 10, though, but the edge of it. Battle for the race lead. It took a while, but here we go. Got another change for the lead. It'll be Fillion for the top spot here, at least for the moment. Unless Risu can make something happen on that high side here. Doesn't look like it. So Fillion will now take away that first spot. Risu's not going to go away without a fight. But they come back to the inside. Simi was able to get back to that bottom line, so he won't be able to fall back too far. Won't be long before this pack of cars also probably catches them as well. Ain't too far behind. There's Dreamer aggressively on that bottom for the race lead. They did get it that time by across the line. Won't be able to celebrate for too long with that race lead because here comes Henya back to the inside for the race lead. Top two were separated by 5 seconds at one point, and now they're separated by 2 rows of 3. 3 rows of 3. Okay. We have 3 rows of 3. And then Cali all the way in the very back of it. Now Merriweather. The 3 rows of 3. And then that 1 extra car at the very back. That is basically the entire top 10 right there. Lucky inches out ahead of the pack so far. Kind of tries to pull away a little bit, but we'll see if that is successful at any given point. Still 3 wide. This is for 3rd now. As Fillion takes away that 2nd spot. So is the spectator camera worth looking at here? Somewhat. See how far the 2nd pack is from this pack. Lots of 3 wide action at this top 10 here. You can see this first pack right here is basically the length of the backstretch from that 2nd pack. And I don't know if that's going to increase or decrease. It'll be close. Keep an eye on it here. It's 5.5 seconds. Down to less than 5. They are catching them. A little bit slowly, but definitely surely are they catching them. Unless that was just 1 lap that I saw. And maybe they gain some laps and lose another. I don't know. We'll see. They look like they're more sorted out back in that 2nd pack. It was less than 5 last time by. It's going to be just about the same. Maybe a bit of an increase there. Things are starting to sort out here inside the top 10. I say that, they're still running roughly 3 wide. But they're also doing the same thing back in that 2nd pack. If that 2nd pack catches this 1st pack, you wouldn't tell the difference of a 50-lap run to a restart. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They did gain a couple tenths that time by. Right now it's still Lucky who's leading this pack. The battle right now was 2nd place between Merriweather and Fillion. 4.5 seconds, so they're still gaining. That 2nd pack is gaining. Not by a much, but it isn't much of a big pack by any means. They are also catching a couple of the cars too. There goes Bimble, who's entering the pits. They're also catching a couple other cars as well. There's another car that's exiting the pits. That's Doki Bird. Yeah, they even left. They even got rid of a few cars as well. Right now it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10, 11 cars. About the same as the 1st pack. It is about the same as that 1st pack. 4, and it's still 4.5 seconds. There are a couple drivers that are pitting. So we are going to probably see some smaller packs here. Fillion's going to hang on to the race lead. Risu's going to dip into the pits. So there goes another car from the top 10. And nobody else. I think Simu may have also pitted. Does look like it. He's not in that first pack. Yep, he just came off pit lane. So yeah, so Risu and Simu have pitted, which means that will start the rest of everybody coming into the pits here within the next 5-ish laps. Nobody from the top 2 packs. Well, we'll keep an eye on the spectator cam. I gotta start utilizing more of these cameras somehow, some way, you know? Kind of hard to watch a race. You only got like 2 good cameras. I mean, you got the onboard cameras, but I mean, I try not to utilize them a whole lot because they're loud. So nobody from that first pack so far. This with abridged first pack. Doesn't look like anybody from that second pack at the moment. Still nobody at this moment. We are past halfway. Or a little bit. We're more than halfway through, but I just figured I'd mention it now because I was too focused on the pit stops. So far, it's Fillion, Melody, and Dreamer, the top 3, as things are starting to shake into some more green flag pit stops. And with how things are set, and you would think that there would be... Well, the thing is that they do have to stop another time, but once they stop that other time, unless I think there's gonna be some that are gonna try and push it. Ooh, that just got me thinking here. If they can only run about 60 laps, then these drivers got to run about 10 if they want to split it exactly 2 stops. Because Risu and Simu right now, they have to stop a 3rd time. They have to stop an additional time. Now, maybe not as long, but they still have to stop an additional stop because they are going to be 10 laps short after this, about 10 to 15 laps short on their next stop if they're pitting for fuel. And that fuel run is 60 to 65. We've seen a lot of drivers try to take that gamble when it comes to the gas and stuff like that, and it didn't bite anybody last week at Rockingham, but it definitely did a lot during the dirt race at Springfield and at Infineon and a couple other races too. So it does happen that drivers try to take that gamble, but I don't know if it's worth doing. I mean, it is Las Vegas. You know, it is Las Vegas. It is the gamble capital of the United States, so... That is why it is the finale race. Plus, I couldn't think of any other track to end it on. Right now, it's Dreamer who takes away that race lead. And if they can make it, I think several drivers are going to try and push it another 5 laps if they can. If not, they're going to try and maybe push a couple laps this time and a couple laps next time. They're going to try and push it. Because you do want to try to get that 60 number on your fuel if this thing does run green the rest of the way. You'd have that one caution early on, which kind of screwed everything up pit strategy-wise. I haven't talked really much at all during the championship throughout this run. Because like I said, it's just been mainly Bell and Starlight back in the deep 20s. It's like, I mean, Bell needs a lot more positions, and they don't have the opportunity to do that because they're so far back. I mean, we're about ready to see them coming into the pits, but they're only 2 spots ahead of the 24. And they need another 5 to make the championship, but they are 9, almost 10 seconds back from where they need to be the champion. So they need both the 69 and the 24 need a much better stop this time than their last stop. Their last stop, both of them, they went from competing for a top 15 to just immediately falling all the way back to irrelevancy back in the deep 20s and deep 30s. It was just an absolutely slow stop for those two, both of them. Right now we've hit 1 lap 45, so I would expect a lot more to come in within the next couple laps. Because if they pit now, then they would hit the lap. They would go to lap 267, to get to lap 267 on 2 stops. If it's 60, they went longer on this one than they did than I thought. So I don't know. I don't know the fuel window, to be honest. I just kind of figure out when they pit that that's the fuel window. Because they never pit early. They always pit when they're right on that number. And there's a couple that are pitting. So there are a couple that are on that number. I just don't remember exactly when they pitted. So we restarted lap 35, and they all pitted around lap 70. I think. I can't remember. So long ago. There's a couple others that did pit. Pit road does look like it is a little bit busier now than the last couple laps, so get another 60 laps in the book. It'll be a lap 208. Which by then, if anybody pits around 205 to 210, they will be able to make it the rest of the way. And beyond, I should say. Beyond 210, they'll be able to make it. You're risking it before 210, but you definitely can make it still around that point, depending on circumstances. I'm curious to see who the leader's gonna be. I want to say it's gonna be... It's gonna be... Oh boy. Simu and Risu are trying to race around everybody right now. That was a little chaotic. There goes Dreamer, who came in as the leader. I don't know where exactly Simu's going to end up at. There's Lumen, who is technically the race leader, but he is also a driver that has not pitted yet. And is trying to pit. Also, Bimble is also trying to give him the space, but oh my goodness. That's gonna, yeah, that slowed up Bimble a lot. And as well as Risu. Because Bimble was trying to go up the racetrack to not get into the back of Lumen, who pitted from the middle groove for whatever reason, and that totally didn't work whatsoever. So I don't know if Simu's going to be the race leader. I definitely think so, because the next car in front of them is Starlight, who sits in 36th. And they pitted earlier than everybody else, obviously, so from the looks of things, it does look like they are going to be... Yeah, it is. They're right now second. The only other car they have to pass is Lumen, who is already in the pits. It's already been passed, so is Simu and Risu once again, 1 and 2. Then, it's Melody, Fillion, and then Dreamer, and that's the top 5. And then Lucky in 6th place. 7th place is Callie. 8th place is Didi. 9th place is Henya. 10th is DM. 11th is Fruit. 12th is Tyroki. 13th, 14th, and 15th go to Fu, William, and Bao. Watson, Merriweather, 16th and 17th. 18th is Sprite. 19th is Lumen. 20th is Weebu. 21st is Gura. And then the rest of the field on back. Championship update, 34th and 35th. Yes, those two positions hold your champion and your runner-up. Like I said, if one of them's gonna win the championship, it's not gonna be in championship style, or at least not at this moment. Side by side for the race lead, it is still. I mean, I say still. It is back to a 3.5 second gap between the top 2 to 3rd place. So, right now it is just class of the field for Risu and Simu, but I don't think they honestly are running the right strategy. They got to run about another 45-ish laps. Actually, around 45, 50 if they want to make it. But they also are on the strategy of short pitting, which we saw with William, Fu, and Noriboshi. That does not work at this track at all. Unless a caution comes out, which has not benefited anybody for short pitting for the most part. We've only had one caution today. That was way back at lap 30. Now we've ran more than 120 laps from that point, or roughly 120 at this point, I should say, and still hasn't really felt like. I mean, there's still some packs here, but this is as spread out as we have seen it practically all race long. The top 3 in the championship, by the way, are running stone dead last in terms of on pace. Now, there's a couple cars that are behind them because of strategy and poor strategy. Actually, take a look here. Bimble's the only car 1 lap down at the moment. But Fu, William, and Noriboshi, those 3 are going to pit later. And they're going to go a lap down, so it's, and then I think Hano Mizuki just went back into the pits in the 86 car, so they are now a lap down as well. So now it just comes down to the fact that it's like, okay, but they are in the back because of strategy, and Bimble had so much damage because of what happened on lap 29. So, not necessarily stone dead last in that regards, but despite that, Bell, Starlight, and Overdrive, the top 3 in the championship, seem like they do not want any part of a championship battle, which is fine for the 24 and the 69. Don't get involved in another wreck because they were already involved in a wreck. But for Overdrive, that's like, this is the worst possible spot for them completely. What they should have done is they should have tried to find a way to stay inside the top 15. Because if they were inside the top 15 right now, they would practically be the championship leader. Maybe not exactly at the moment, but relatively close to it. Because the way that things are right now, this pack with Lucky, Dreamer, Didi, Henya, Fillion, Melody, Callie, and I think I saw Merriweather. Did I not? Guess not. Yeah, Merriweather fell back several spots, so never mind. That pack of cars from 3rd to 10th place, which has caught this front 2. Actually, it's a pack of 9. This is still the biggest pack it is still the biggest pack at this moment. Like, this right here is your biggest pack. Everywhere, everybody else is practically miniature versions of this. This goes all the way back to 9th place. There's a 2, maybe 3-pack cars here. There's a 3-pack here. And all by themselves here. This might be bigger, maybe. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cars, although 2 of them feature cars that are being pushed to the back because they're slower and off strategy. That being William and Foo. So that's still about 7 cars. So there's still maybe a pack similar size to the lead pack. But now they've caught them as Risu and Simu are... They had a good strategy at one point, and then they drifted off strategy, and now they're paying the same price as the 3 that I mentioned earlier. But now it's Lucky who retakes the race lead away. Dreamer takes second. DD takes third. I mean, right now, I don't know if that other pack from 10th on back is going to catch him. Down to less than 4 seconds. We'll see. Lap 165 in the books, or lap 164 in the books, working on 165. Getting closer and closer to having double digits to go here in terms of laps. This race definitely does not feel like it's flying by quickly at all compared to the last couple races. I don't know if that's a product of what we're seeing on track or if that's me being tired. I don't know. Lap 166. Got a battle for second between Callie and Dreamer. As Risu falls practically to the back of this pack, as well as Simu, who's slowly but surely falling back. We're down to 100 laps to go here in this season. And we still have one more pit stop for most of these drivers. At least for the drivers that want to make it to the end on fuel. I think for the most part, that's what we're going to see. Single file through most of this pack, with the exception of the side-by-side battle for the second spot between Fillion and Callie. Melody thought about going 3 wide for a second. Melody did think about it. Couple drivers coming out of the pits, I think. Gotta check back here. Saw somebody. Oh, it was Noriboshi. Okay, so it looks like those. Yeah, so the ones that are off strategy are coming into the pits. It's a tough break for them as well because Noriboshi, Fu, and William were like the top 3 practically early on in the race, and they just immediately shot themselves in the foot. And the first chance they got, it was not worth pulling that strategy call, especially since, I mean, I guess I get it. You want to gamble your way, maybe get a good strategy call compared to everybody else. Maybe be up front near the end. I get it, but that gamble didn't pay off. Unless they're thinking they're going to get a quick caution here, which I don't know if they're thinking that, because realistically speaking, that'll be hard to accomplish. I'm not trying to manifest it by any means, by being the announcer, but the way that things have spread out, it's like, well, the only reason why the first caution happened to begin with was because we went 4 wide. And I see a lot of side-by-side, maybe 3 wide. But no 4 wide. Not now, at least. I mean, I see Risu taking it 3 wide, but that's all I really see at the moment. As we've hit nearly the 2-hour mark of this race, including the pre-race stuff. Melody looking to the inside for the race lead. And you almost went 3 wide. Because of that, Melody had to back out of that, and now we're back to single file for the top 5. Just in front of these cars, though, is Hana Mizuki, who we have talked about earlier today. They're going to go 2 laps down here. Oh, there's one car that's actually 2 laps down. Oh, yeah, it's Noriboshi. Yeah, Noriboshi's 2 laps down. At the moment, the only car 2 laps down. The other one would be Hana Mizuki if Lucky could get around them. Championship update, if it means anything, 29th and 30th. So still tight together for a position, to say the least. Milky Bird in the pits. At the moment, very calm. But with how these races have been the last couple weeks, it's always calm in the middle of these races, and then once we finally hit a breaking point, then it's a storm. Then it's a storm. There's 3 wide action. Very tight 3 wide action. And it takes away the race lead. Callie trying to follow suit in second. Hana Mizuki's not giving up the spot as easily as I thought. He's kind of chilling out in front of the lead pack, which is kind of surprising. I guess they still have some speed. I think it was just strategy that put them all the way back here. They ain't running quick laps, but they are running quick enough laps to stay out ahead. And as soon as I say that, here comes Henya back to the inside. Mizuki's going to try and block a little bit, try to defend, try to stay 1 lap down. With how this middle line has been through the majority of this race, I just don't think Mizuki's going to put up a massive fight. We got a caution on the speedway. Ooh, turn 1. Looks like we have a problem in turn 1. At least, sounds like it. Take a look here. Oh my Jesus. Watson hard into the wall. It looks like this all started because of Fruit and Tyroki dooring each other. They hit each other. They get into each other all the way down the racetrack, and then bam, into Watson of all people. Who gets the worst out of it? Whew, look out. Wow. Frustration out of Tyroki, maybe? Let's get one more look at it. I mean, Watson is I don't understand this. See, like, my initial thought was Tairoki was going to try and make a move through the middle and put Watson all the way up here. But no, they just door Fruit all the way down the racetrack and then just get hooked onto each other. And bam. Tairoki gets some damage, head on into the wall. But, like, compared to Watson, that is night and day. And Fruit gets away from it scot-free. And I mean, I guess I shouldn't be complaining about that because Fruit didn't do anything wrong, I don't feel like. But that just took away more than 130 laps of green flag racing. And more so than that, I mean, Risu just came into the pits, so that probably... It's Risu and Simu. I don't think they went a lap down, did they? No, Simu went by. I have no idea. Nobody is pitting this time, except Fruit. Actually, a couple cars from the back of the field are pitting. We get this restart here. I don't know if it'll be single or double file. We saw single file last time. I don't know if it'll be double this time. We'll see. But it'll be Henya in front, Callie in second, Melanie in third, Didi in fourth, Lucky in fifth, Dreamer in sixth, Philly in seventh, Bao in eighth, Merriweather in ninth. Rounded out the top 10 would be Soleil. Then you got Kason in the 11th spot, Sprite in 12th, 13th in Lumen. 14th is Weebu. Risu. Looks like they're going to be waved around, it looks like. Maybe the first car lap down. Yeah, it looks like they're the first car one lap down. So Risu will be back on the lead lap. Say the least. Might be the strategy call to make them win the race, I guess. Who knows? Anyways, Lumi in 15th. 16th is Kyoso. 17th is Kobo. 18th is Iron Mouse. 19th is... Good Lord, if I can go all the way back there in time. David. 20th is Overdrive. 21st is Bell. 23rd is Simu. 22nd, I guess, would be Fruit. We got a lot of action now. I have to see where the championship leaders are going to be at when we cross the line. It looks like Bell's going to be the leader, championship leader. Click the right button. Let's take a look here. I am shocked that Watson is not coming down to fix any sort of that damage. That's crazy. Starlight in 27th. Bell just went into the pits. Bell, oh, a few drivers did. Bell, Didi, and Dreamer, they went into the pits. You know, maybe that is a strategy call right there, because now that we've ran 30 laps... Oh, you know what? I agree with this call. I agree with this call. Bell took tires, and they've ran 30 laps on their old set of tires, which everybody else has stayed out on. We saw what happened. We saw what happened to 3 drivers that did not stop with 30-lap tires, 30-lap old tires, compared to everybody else. Imagine. That might be the move that wins Bell the championship. If this works out. Because right now, Starlight sits in the 20... Let's call it the 28th spot. Maybe 26. Watson still has yet to pit as well, by the way. So, there's that. So, Watson is a free position, as they're going to put the lap cars to the back of the field here. So, everybody that is a lap down gets to go to the back. Bye-bye. So, right now, Starlight is going to be scored 26th. Bell is going to restart 29th, so there's only 3 spots there. And then if Bell could get by that 24 car, then they have to get by 7 more cars, because they both still have not led a lap, despite them both starting inside the top 10. Food for thought there. Doesn't look like we have a double file restart here, so at the moment, single file restart here on lap 182. Now let the chaos begin once again. Green flag back in the air. Henny with a good jump there on that restart. But here comes a 3-way behind. And lucky Melody. Melody now inches out ahead of that 3-wide battle. Now slides up a little bit because here comes Lucky in the 6. Fillion almost tried to split the middle between Bao and Cali right there. I don't know if I was the only one that just saw that, but that got real tight. Real quick. Soleil right up inside the top 10. Good for them. Good for them. Bell didn't get as good of a restart as I figured, but I guess it isn't too bad. I think Didi and Dreamer as well also did the same strategy, I think. I didn't see them take tires, but if they also did take tires, that is also another good call. They still have to stop one more time. So, it is going to pay dividends in the long run if this goes green to the end, but I don't know. We'll see. Soleil going 3 wide with Fillion and Cali. Soleil has gotten close the last couple of weeks. Notching another win. Rockingham was just not their week. Oh my goodness. They're looking for this one to be their last shot for a win. But do keep in mind, if they also finish where they finish right now, they will have a shot next season. Because they are top 10 in the points. And that's where a majority of where the drivers are going to come from for the 2025 season. Only leading a handful of laps so far in this early stages of this green flag run. And by the sounds of it, Watson did go into the pits. I guess that's why a lot of that stuff from behind happened. Because I did see that there was a little bit of a gap. And I was like, oh, that was weird. But I guess that was that way for a reason. Starlight's trying to turn up the gas a little bit. They got a chance to get some positions. Now they have to. Because now Bell is going to have not only a chance to pass more cars for the championship. He's going to be able to, but they're going to be able to do it much quicker, Starlight, because they have 30-lap old fresh 30-lap pressure tires, I should say. All right, now it's Henya and Merriweather, the top two that are starting to separate. Let's see, the two that came in, the 99 and the 2. Simu has managed to make it up to the 19th spot. Risu, not so fortunate. They've dropped to outside the top 30. But those two did come into the pits relatively around the same time, if not the exact same time as when the caution came out. Watson is going to be a thorn in these leaders' sides here once they catch her. Right now, the top two is Merriweather and Soleil, who we hadn't talked much about at all today. They fell back after starting up inside the top 10. It looks like ever since that pit stop, they have managed to go back on the adjustments and make some better adjustments. 25th and 26th at the moment. About to be 27th. Top two in the points. Merriweather looking to maybe use Watson as a pick. Maybe. They both slide up the racetrack. Oh, Watson's pitting. That's why. So there's that. Keeping an eye on this chaos because you see all this three wide action. Now Gura up to the lead. Taking advantage of Watson. There goes the one car to the race lead. Now here comes Dreamer. Saw them enter the pits. Uh-oh, they're four wide. Well, they were for a second. No, they are. No, they are. There goes Lumi. No, there goes Nana in the 85. Single car spin. No, Bimble hard on the outside wall again. Thought it was a single car spin. It's multiple cars. Oh, multiple. Another incident. The championship leader is involved. Smoking big time down the backstretch. Oh, no. There's too much to uncover here. Oh, there's way too much to uncover here. Oh my goodness gracious, there's too much to uncover in this little incident. So there's the four wide. I thought Lumi was the one that was getting spun out, but it was actually Nana who got spun. Listen, it's three blue cars in between everybody. I'm sorry for that. But let's go. My, oh my. Okay, let's go through everything here, because there's multiple things that happen. So, Nana is four wide with Henya, Lumi, and Bao. Bao is going to get into the 85 and spin them down the racetrack. Now, Nana's going to keep it in the grass for the moment. Mostly everybody's going to get by. But then, trouble, boom, goes the 9 into them and Doggy Bird. Up into the wall and bam! That takes out three cars right there. But then, turn 1. Mayhem, four wide with Starline in the 24, Kason, Lucky, and Sprite. And what we just saw in turn 4 is not going to work in turn 1 as Starlight gets hooked dead on into the wall with Lucky, Mizuki, and I think, yeah, Starlight as well. I thought Kobo was going to get involved too, but the big story out of all of that, if the 24 has any sort of problems, it's major. Oh my God. Is it game over for the 24? They came into the day 7 points from above second place. And they were riding just perfectly fine for the championship. But after that incident in turn 1, are they done for the day? They are. Oh my God. They're done. With that little accident, the championship's going right to Bell. Unless Bell finishes... Oh my goodness gracious. Look at... Oh my god. There's so much to take away from this. So much chaos. Nana will practically be out of the race. Bimble's done. Their second hard hit of the day. Takes them out, probably for the race. Lucky, unfortunately, and not so lucky. They got involved in what happened in turn 1. Starlight was 4 wide going into turn 1 because they were trying to avoid the wreck in turn 4, and they just couldn't get it sorted out in time. Nana is going to continue, despite a lot of damage. Lucky is able to repair some of that damage. I don't think anybody else, with the exception of Bimble. I think Bimble's the only one that retired. Yeah. So only 2 cars have retired. Actually, 3 cars, because I think Watson's out as well. Yeah, so Watson's retired. Bimble's retired. Donkey Bird has not retired, but the major one is the championship leader coming into today's race. Starlight is out of the race, which would put them in 35th, maybe 34th at best. So all Bell has to do is just finish inside the top 30, and he has the championship. All Bell has to do is just finish inside the top 30. And he wins the championship. Wow. That's insane. We are one to go, by the way. Now, Overdrive could maybe win the championship, because they're 24 back from Starlight. They have to finish, though... They would have to finish roughly 20 spots ahead of Bell. But he currently sits in 25th. So they're still going to need Bell to have some problems here. But yeah, Starlight's done. Meanwhile, we are 1 to green here on lap 196. And it's Gura, Dreamer, and Didi, the top 3. Oh my goodness. What I once thought was just going to be a single car spin has turned into championship-altering drama here on lap 196. Starlight's going to drop to maybe 35th. And that is where she will stay for the rest of the race. So that means if you have to take 7 spots ahead of that, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 28th. Bell has to finish 28th or better to win the championship. '28th or better. That's the easiest route for a championship. I don't think it could get any easier than that. It's not like it was a good day for Starlight anyways. Once they fell to the back of the field, they were basically just there the entire race. And then they got involved in the first wreck. It's just, wow. I'm speechless. Beyond speechless right now. There's Bell, who currently holds the championship in 20th place at the moment. while they are going to try and finish, which is essentially what they have to do, they have to just basically finish this race, they also better not try and be too far back. Because there are still a lot of cars still left in this race. And like I said, if Bell falls to this page specifically on the leaderboard, then they are not the champion. They're 28th. They'll tie for the championship, but they will have the champion. Wow. It's just, wow. That is really unfortunate by the 24. They had it locked up necessarily. They weren't having a good race, but neither was Bell up to that point. The drama that comes from the championship, I'll tell you what. It's not like they could go into next week's race with their head held high and try to battle whatever. They can't do that. This is the final race. They ain't got no more race. Meanwhile, it looks like Fifi's missing a part of their corner panel. I can't tell if that's the paint scheme or if I can't tell. Looks like they're missing something. I mean, I think they got hit at one point, so I guess they... I don't know. That just looks weird to me. Right now, Bell is also climbing up through the ranks too. Now sitting what? That would be 17th place. Yeah, 17th, just past Kyoso. There's Nana, who we saw got involved in that spin. What was just a one-car spin just turned into a massacre for them, Doki Bird, and Bimble in turn 4 down the front stretch. That's also held up Fifi, so Fifi's going to drop several spots, and it's quite a shame for Nana. They were up front earlier, and it's just what once was already a bad season. It's not getting any better, and it's not going to be any better. What Bell is hoping for is that Nana could also maybe retire. Maybe if they, and I think Doki Bird as well, because they were also another car that's out here just involved in a wreck. But that'd be one less. Oh my goodness gracious. That was close. That'd be one less car to worry about, especially in that situation. Good lord. The last thing Bell needs to get involved in is a wreck, because there's still enough cars left in this race for something to happen. There's still enough cars in this race for Bell to lose positions and all that. The only reason why they haven't, or why they don't have the best opportunity to lose that many positions is everybody's practically a lap down or more behind the 28th spot. Starlight's in 24th, or sorry, 35th. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go up another spot. That's 7. That's like, yeah, everybody from 28th on down to lap down. They got Bao and DM who just now went another lap down. Several cars pitting. Actually, many cars pitting. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, now that I just realized it. It is pit stops. I completely forgot about that. My mind completely just wiped out pit stops from existence for a second. I completely forgot about that. Right now, if everybody does pit, they are going to make it the rest of the way. Right now, Dreamer, Didi, Simu. I don't think Gura is on the same strategy, but the top 3 at the very least, they're on a different strategy because they pitted under that caution with Watson. That Watson crash, the top 3 have pitted already. But they still need to pit one more time, but they're going to try and build up enough of a difference between them and the ones that have pitted. So that way they can hard charge their way through the field on that final run to the finish. Right now, Bell is also part of that strategy too, but sits in 11th place. Just like I said, I mean, there's still a chance for Starlight to win the race. Not win the race, win the championship out of the race. But it's the worst case scenario right now for them because Bell is just riding around in 11th spot. And because of what they did strategically with them pitting under that caution with Watson, for Watson, I should say, they're not really in a situation to where they are currently back behind the 28th position. Because right now it's simple. If Bell finishes 27th or better, he is the... My mistake. They are the champion. They may not be riding around right now with quick laps. They don't need to. 11th place at the moment. They could ride around for 50 laps with no problems whatsoever. It doesn't matter if it is 27th. It'll be enough to win the championship. They're simply just going to ride around until they have to pit and then just hope that they aren't in a situation where they need to gain a spot or two. And I mean, like I said, they really don't have that much to worry about because there's a ton of people a lap down or more around that 28th mark. And it's just going to come down to what happens in the final 50 laps of this race. Final 50 laps of the season. Meanwhile, the top 3 right now that are still staying out, they're also being joined by Lucky in the 6. And as well, here comes Nana back into the pit. Oh my goodness gracious. I think Bell might be the only person that really wants that 85 off the racetrack for a whole different reason, but there's a lot of drivers that probably do not like the fact that that 85 is still running out here as slow as they are. And Watson, oh my goodness. Watson did come into the pits eventually and just retired because of the fact that they were not in contention. They weren't battling for anything. And since they weren't battling for anything, they just decided to call it quits. Watson was nowhere near the spot to get themselves into a 2025 ride for next year, but even if they were, it wasn't looking good anyways. They're in the back, and they had to do a lot more than just finish good. What a crazy race for unique reasons. We still have 50 to go. Lucky, Simu, and Gura, the top 3 at the moment. Beefy in 4th, and they're starting to space out a little bit. Now, these drivers that still have yet to pit, which is quite a few of them, they are just going to push through until they can't. A lot of the drivers that have already pitted, they wanted to pit as soon as they were able to hit their fuel window for whatever reason, but it's fine. Good finish here by Lucky today will bring them in contention for a 2025 season. But they really have to top it off here today with a win. When signups do open, they don't necessarily have an end point. It'll just be whenever I have officially 40 drivers. So there's not really much of an end date with signups. Things are starting to spread out a lot more, and I think it's because Simu pitted, so that does help matters for that. All right, now Bell now up to the 10th spot at the moment, but they still have to pit. A lot of drivers that still have to pit here within the next couple laps. Calm before the total storm at the moment. A lot of these drivers inside the top 5 still needing to pit here. This has got to be the most spread out I've ever seen the field as a whole. But then again, it is because of pit stops. But still, it is kind of crazy seeing the field spread out as big as it is. Coming to 44 to go. It has been a wild ride for a lot of these drivers inside the... It's been a wild ride for all 37 drivers. Let's be really honest with ourselves here. Lucky in the 6 car looking for what will be their second win of the season. Winning all the way back in Darlington, way back yonder. It's been a wild ride for them ever since then. Haven't been able to utilize much of their talents to the fullest. Same could be probably said with Gura, but I would probably think that Gura may have been one that just failed to exceed many expectations. If anybody had any expectations at all. I mean, Gura is one of the more popular VTubers, and you would have expected them to contend a lot more often than she has. The one and only race that comes to the top of my mind would have been Milwaukee, but that was because the first half of the race was all Gura, and then after that it wasn't. The thing about it is that, like, coming into this season, I kind of had expectations for Gura. I kind of thought she was going to be, at the very least, in the top 10 of things, especially in the points. Just seemed like, you know, with the way things were shaking up, that was just how it was going to be. And it just wasn't meant to be. Same thing could probably be said with Fruits. I mean, unironically, one of the better looking cars of the field. A very Red Bull-ish looking car. It just kind of, you know, seemed like Fruit was going to be able to take that ability for the car, for having a nice looking ski. Maybe take it in, turning it into something really nice for the season. Unfortunately, not meant to be. There's a lot of cars back here, so maybe the top 5 is not necessarily where to look at. Maybe outside of it's where you want to watch. Because they all still have to pit, including Fruit, who I was just talking about. I've kind of talked much already about Melody. Really, I've talked much about everybody in this pack, with the exception of Bao and Fifi. But Fifi has shown some light in the last couple of weeks. Back and forth, necessarily. Back and forth between being good and being fine and meh. Melody just hasn't had any sort of luck within the last couple of weeks. I've already kind of talked about that. Soleil I've talked much about already. The win at Infineon, the near victories that this person has had in this whole season as a whole. It's They should have been a championship contender with the amount of times they've been up front. They really should have been a championship contender. Right now, Lucky has this entire field one lap down. And Bell has also made their stop, and they're going to run 37 laps, hoping that they finish above the 28th position. Where they're currently running at right now, though, is a bit concerning. It's right now 28th. Currently in the championship standings, we have a tie for the championship. But that's right now, but then again, Bell still has a couple drivers that they can easily pass for that one spot. Right now it's Fifi who runs in the second spot, so I believe this one would be where the lead ends up at, where this would be the top three after the 6 enters the pits. Lucky right now just wants a caution. They were involved in that 4 wide incident. But they were able to not only get the damage repaired, but they're just like, screw it, we're going to stay out as long as we can because we can. Lucky was unlucky to be involved in the caution that took out Starlight. But now they're looking to maybe get Lucky and see if they can trap everybody. Because what would happen if a caution does come out? Never mind. Never mind. This is for the lead now. I kind of figured I knew what the strategy was for the 6. And then all I had to do was look back at the 6 car and realize that they were pitting. I quickly realized I was wrong. I mean, Lucky's still going to come out inside this pack. Okay, maybe not. I thought so, but it will just be right at the tail end of this pack. And if Lucky can have anything going for them here, they'll still be within a arm's length away from a halfway decent finish. So let's see where everybody ends up at when it's all said and done here. Got Melody, Simu, Fifi, Lumi, and Risu, the top 5. Then you got Callie, Filian, Bao, Merriweather, Henya, and Soleil to the top 10. And Gura behind them in 11th and 12th, I guess. Couple packs here. Overdrive in 20th. 21st is Iron Mouse. There's Bell in 28th. Currently on that bubble between being champion and being tied for championship. Unfortunately, it looks like Bell may have had a problem in the pits because they lost a lot of track position. They're more than 6 seconds back from the 27th position of David. This opens up the door for DJ Overdrive as well, because Overdrive needs to finish 20-ish spots above Bell in order to win the championship. If Bell stays in the 28th position, if Overdrive can get up to basically the top 10. If Overdrive can finish... Okay, if Overdrive can finish 10th or better while Bell finishes 28th, And Overdrive can sneak the championship away. It currently runs 20th. 5 seconds back from the race leader. And essentially at the same time, the top 10. So with 30 laps to go. It's now down to it's a different driver battling for the championship compared to the top two that we were talking about earlier. Overdrive could steal it away from Bell if they can gain about another 10 spots here. Zuki is not one of them. With this being the run to the finish, this has to be Overdrive's run of a lifetime if they want to make this work. 27 laps to go. We are 3x3 for the race lead, by the way. I just now thought of that. I thought the person ahead of all this was the leader, and then I just remembered at the last second, nope, that was Nana. And now that's split up that 3x3, so yay. Oh my god, that was terrifying to watch. Iron Mouse, I wouldn't say has a shot to win the championship necessarily, but it could happen. Maybe. They're actually coming up to Bell, who's actually running in the 26th spot, so right now Bell is the champion at the moment. Like David and whoever was above David at that time, looks like they pitted, so that's why David sits 30th at the moment and Sprite 29th. A lot of cars one lap down because of strategy. Bell doesn't really have to worry so much about losing a lap. Bell's just trying to survive. They don't want to be involved in anything. They were already involved in the first wreck of today. They didn't want to be in a situation to where they wanted to be in a wreck all day, but they did, and now they're just trying to make sure that they're not in another one. It is Gura and Lucky again, 1-2. Lucky was able to squeeze by and make sure that they had a big enough gap to where when they came out of the pits, they were able to climb through just fine. The champion has been put 1 lap down officially, by the way. At least at the moment, it's the current champion. Overdrive still can win the championship if they can finish inside the top 10. It's not 20 positions exactly, but still at the same time, you would like to finish roughly 20 spots ahead of Bell. At least. So right now, it's a 6th place that Overdrive is looking to finish in. Which seems harder and harder as the time is ticking. 21 laps to go. Still in 19th place. Because it is a... what, a 17-point difference? If I remember correctly, it was 17. Like I said, it's getting more and more unlikely for DJ Overdrive to win the championship. Ouch, at this rate. 20 laps to go. Lots of things could change, but this is the run to the finish if this does stay green. Right now, it's between Gura and Lucky, who both put David and Bell between them and the third place car. The top two have pulled out a little bit of a gap, about a second. David and Bell are going to continue to battle. The important thing is about this is that, once again, it's very likely this is your champion heading out of today's race. They did not need to do much. They just needed to finish ahead of Starlight, which would have required much if Starlight was going to have a solid race. In the end, it wasn't meant to be. So all Bell has to do is just finish 7 spots ahead of where Starlight's going to finish at, which is going to be 35th place. Quick math will tell you that it's 28th or better for Bell to finish first place in the championship standings. But for those that don't care about the championship, we have 17 laps to go here in the VTuber Racing 2024 series. And right now it's being fought for by both Gura and Lucky simultaneously. As Fifi gets by the 69 car. But they still have to get by David in the 77, who just hasn't had the best of days today whatsoever. Just hadn't hit the mark. Their setup, on their adjustments, whatever that case may be, they were just not able to hit the mark whatsoever. The 3-car battle for the race lead, but a 5-car pack. Separate them in a second and a half. Next car in for position. Make it a temporary 6-car pack, because once again, here comes Nana in the 85, who's going to hold up everybody on that bottom line, and that's going to help Lucky tremendously, who will rarely make a high side move work. "14 laps to go here at Las Vegas." The 77 and the 69 are not on the lead lap. They won't be in contention to win this race. Really, they're just holding up that 53 in third place. Now, Lucky was able to get back out of front despite pitting later than everybody else because, well, she pitted later than everybody else. And was able to charge through the field quicker. Now them and Gura, as well as Fifi, hanging on to a top 3 podium spot for the moment. Gura's looking to the inside for the race lead. He's going to get very tight here within the next couple of laps. The aggression's going to start picking up. Bell currently the first car 1 lap down in the 26th position. There's 4 cars 1 lap down. 3 other cars is Fu and DM. And then there's also Sprite. Really, at this point, all Bell has to do is finish the race. Not even have to really worry about ahead of anybody, because David's 30th and 2 laps down. So Bell just has to finish. Just hopefully not catastrophically fall all the way back behind Sprite, who's all the way, on the exit of 2. Actually, a couple cars that are pitting, so that's even helping them as well. Here comes Henya out into the picture here. 10 laps to go. There's drivers that are thinking they may not make it on fuel, so they got to pit. Which is going to help out Bell because they can make it on fuel. So right now it's Gura, who now has several more cars. 3 of them, in fact. And a lot of space. That separates them in second place. With under 9 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Lucky's tried all that she can to get by everything and just get into a position to where they could finish. Put themselves in position maybe similar to last week between Henya and Lumi. And right now, this is the best case scenario for Gura, because if Gura can make it the rest of the way, she can basically just cruise from here. Unless David wants to go 1 lap down. Cross the line, 7 laps to go in the season. At the moment, track is clear, no issue whatsoever. This is what Gura wants to see at the moment. Tire marks are from the battles that came from before. The price of war. Here within 260 lap confines of Las Vegas, Nevada. Many drivers have felt the pain of getting around the track in not so traditional fashion. With this being the final race of the season, coming down to less than 5 laps to go. The clock is ticking for Lucky and Fifi. They still have to get by 3 cars. And they have 5 laps to do it. Cross the stripe. Gura brings us to 5 to go for the season. We've had plenty of first-time winners here within the last couple of races. It'd be fitting to end it off with another one. But maybe I'm talking too soon. But all Gura has to do is just defend. And Henya and David are not going to give up these positions that easily. Not so easily. There are 3 more cars ahead of Gura right now. One of them, Nana, again. But they're side by side behind Gura, which is the worst case scenario for Lucky, who's going to take it 3 wide. Oh, it hit the 30. Bump into the 30 around the 6. Goes into the wall hard. Almost up and over. And now Lumen gets involved late. Oh my God. Frustration by the 6, and that knocks them out of the race. Completely taking them out of the race. And with only a handful of laps to go, is that going to be the end? More than likely. Unless we somehow... I'm going to hold my breath here. Wait till we get a word here. That might be the end of the race. It is not. We're going to have a 1-lap shootout for a finish. This season's going to come down to one final restart between Gura, Fifi, Dreamer, Melody, Risu, Simu, Callie, Soleil, Merryweather, and Lumi. That's the top 10. And Fillion, Fruit, Bao, Tairoki and Kyoso back to 15th. 16th is Didi, 17th is Kobo, 18th is Lumen, Iron Mouse in 19th, William is in 20th, Overdrive 21st, Weebu 22nd, Kason 23rd, and lots of chaos here in the back. But they're going to get mostly all of it sorted out. It's going to be one lap to determine this season. Can Gura hang on for one final time around Las Vegas? Who is going to win it? We're going to find out in one short lap around Las Vegas. White flag here for the season. Here in the VTuber Racing 2024 season. Beefy looks high. Peaks low. Melody with a run for third. Side by side for the lead. Side by side behind. Beefy moves high. Try to take away any sort of momentum that Gura has. Going into turn 3. Maybe a little bit of contact between them and the wall. Melody to the bottom. Everybody slides high. Off of turn 4. Side by side for the final time. Beefy is going to win it. In a photo finish. 100th of a second. And Bell is your 2024 VTuber Racing Series champion. 11th place for the 69 team. It took them one lap to get from what would have been 25th place to 11th. They are the champion for this season. What a race. And what a season. With that in mind, let's quickly pop on over for the final results here for today's race. Lots to unpack here in this final lap here because a lot of stuff happened. So let's quickly go over it. Beefy wins today's race by only leading 4 laps. Melody by 100th of a second falls to second. Gura to third. Dreamer still hangs on to a 4th place spot. And a 5th place goes to Risu. Simu in 6th. Fruit in 7th. Kyoso in 8th. Philly in 9th. And William rounds out the top 10. A solid comeback from what happened early in the race. Champion of Bell finishes in the 11th spot. Then you got Lumen in 12th. The DJ Overdrive tried their best, but only managed to get a 13th place finish out of that. Didi in 14th. The Pole Center of Iron Mouse finishes in 15th. Tairoki in 16th. Saw Callie had a shot near the end right there, but falls all the way back to 17th place. Same can be said with Lumi and Lucky, who still managed to round out the race in 19th place. That is because as we get to 20th place of Soleil on back, all these drivers that became one lap down under that final, and I look, everybody that's one lap down ran out of fuel under that final restart. If you don't believe me, we will go back and take a look here momentarily. We'll watch Soleil's point of view, because everybody ran out of fuel. That is one lap down, and we go all the way down. Let's continue going down here. We're past the one lap down mark, and now drivers are 2 laps down. Drivers that just could not have the day that they wanted whatsoever, whether it was by strategy or by getting involved in incidents. And then once we'll get to the point where we will see 32nd, Goalkeeper, 33rd, Hano Mizuki, kept getting involved in wrecks. 34th, Nana, who ends the day 6 laps down. 35th, second place in points, Starlight. that's where they will end up. After all is said and done in the season, they round out the field in 35th. Unfortunately, just could not at all have the run that needed to be in order for them to win the championship. Now, let's take one final look at the restart that took place for this season here. We're going to keep an eye on Soleil here because this is coming to the white flag here. By the time the white flag starts, we kind of had a feeling that there was going to be a lot of people that were going to be short on fuel. Merryweather starts running out. Soleil's sputtering, and it's just, as you can tell, not going. A lot of these drivers are just struggling to get anything going for them. That's how Bell, there's a champion, just going all the way to the high side as many, many drivers run out of fuel on the last lap. Soleil, Merryweather, Kobo, just a ton of drivers that were inside the top 10 on that restart ran out of fuel. There's Callie, who runs out of fuel. Callie runs out of fuel. Everybody's coming into the pits because they're just getting out of the way of everybody. Iron Mouse runs out of fuel late. Everybody's just running out of fuel. Weeboo runs out of fuel. Just an unfortunate circumstance there by lots of those drivers as they unfortunately just run out of fuel coming to the checkered flag. It would have been fine if it probably ran under yellow, but that is the case. Championship standings, the official championship standings. Top 3, all with 2 wins of the season. Iron Mouse, the only driver with 3 on the season. Bell wins the championship by 17 points. Starlight holds on to a second place spot, despite all that happened today. Overdrive almost took away that second spot, but it just wasn't meant to be. Iron Mouse 4th, and Merryweather rounds out 5th place in the championship standings. Go all the way down to just outside the top 10. And we'll see all the drivers that go all the way down to Fruit. Noriboshi will round out the field of drivers that will be in it for the 2025 season. Drivers, the 13 drivers that'll be listed off that are automatically locked in for the 2025 season will be Bell, Starlight, Overdrive, Iron Mouse, Merryweather, William, Simu, Fifi, Risu, David, Kyoso, Soleil, and Noriboshi. Those 13 drivers will be involved in the 2025 season for the VTuber Racing Series. That won't be till December at the very least. More than likely, it might be later. Doubt it, but it will be close. It wasn't meant to be for Starlight whatsoever. Getting taken out in that 4 wide incident that happened in turn 1. After a 4 wide wreck that happened in turn 4 just moments before that. So, with that in mind, Bell makes it a very stressful watch for the championship. Bell needed to finish 28th or better. They finish in 11th. 149 laps led for Bell this season, 204 for Starlight. The most inside the top 10 goes to Iron Mouse, who leads 276. Let's go through the rest of the championship standings real quick before I send it off. Real quickly, we'll take a gander here. 14 top 10s for Bell, 11 splits, 11 throughout the rest of the top 10, as you see on the screen. Fifi rounds out today's season with 1 win of the season, that being today's. I thought she already won earlier this season. I forgot she did not because of a photo finish. So there's that. That's 6 gained spots, or 6 gained spots? Yes. For Risu, who dominated a lot of today's race. 9th place on the standings for her, officially there. David, 10th place, still leaks out of top 10. finishing spot in the championship standings. You see, as we get through a lot of these drivers, from Fruit on down to Sprite, a lot of these drivers had some chances here to get into the 2025 season. Unfortunately, a lot of them are not going to be able to do so. Fruit missed out on it by 6 points. It was that close. It was that close. We scroll down to the bottom of the standings. I don't think I'll be able to go through I don't know how many. I think it's like the bottom 3 or bottom 4. I'll tell you those once we get to that point. But just unfortunate for a lot of these drivers, even with the help of two little heat races to help ease up the points and make it a bit more interesting on the back of there, it still manages to not give out a lot of opportunities for a lot of these drivers. So right now it says Nana is 31st, 165 back. Bao 32nd, Fillion 33rd, Hano Mizuki 34th, Lumen 35th, Tyroki 36th, and DM 37 for the 37 car. That's your championship standings for this season. I would like to thank you all so much for tuning in through these 30 weeks of absolute chaos and earthquakes for a season. We will be back next season for more chaos and hopefully less earthquakes, but we'll see about that. More information will be given off about the next season here later in, I want to say, October, with signups and stuff like that. Lots of stuff that I'm going to be talking about. It'll probably be a separate video, not a stream, but it will be a separate video that I post on my YouTube channel that I then probably talk about on stream afterwards. But that's that. Thank you all so much for tuning into this chaos. I will be back with streams and stuff like that probably on Tuesday. Maybe not anytime soon, but it'll probably be Tuesday at the earliest. Maybe Monday. Don't know. Take care. Have a good one.